the Texans got the Colts thanks to the wins over the Jags and the Bills and the Titans. We've got meaningful football on Sunday. A big game out of nowhere. Felt like the division was out of reach, but thanks to the Colts losing to the Chiefs and I think now losing 2 out of 3, you've got a real shot with the win to not only further your playoff chances, but now maybe a third division title in a row is in the cards. Here's Jon Gruden on the state of Texas in regards to football, and then he gets to the Texans.
What a year it's been in Texas for football. South Lake High School, Allen High School playing for championships. How about college football? Hook 'em, wreck 'em, gig 'em. You gotta love 'em. And how about the Houston Texans? You know, not long ago they were 3-5. They lost to Denver. They lost their quarterback. But have you seen Danielle Hunter, Will Anderson, Derek Stingley, and Kamari Lassiter? It reminds me of that Johnny Cash song. I hear the train a-comin'. It's rolling down the track.
Got me feeling nice.
Davis Mills has picked up the slack. And nobody has this defensive attack. Oh!
While the audio itself is entertaining enough, the visual, he looks like a crazy person. The eyes, the stare. You know, he's always feels like he's got one eye higher than the other when he's talking to you. He's always got that Gruden snarl on his face. We love him. And the coach loves the state of Texas when it comes to football. I don't know if South Lake Carroll is competing for a national title, but is it really something to announce that a really good high school football program is competing for a high school title? I mean, yeah, South Lake Carroll competing. You could have named another high school program in the same division, and they would have been doing it too. I don't know why that caught me off guard. Like, okay, yeah, a high school team of that caliber may be competing for a state title. It's been what they've done really since I moved there, and that was like 20 years ago. But he did mention the Texans and Davis Mills picking up the slack. Well, we hope that is done for. We're just looking to see when we get the full word that CJ is back. Aaron Wilson put it out there through a tweet that expect those two guys, Jalen Petrie and CJ Stroud, to be ready to go. They just got to get through a practice or two, and then we'll see them back out there. It'll be our last time to talk about the game until it happens. So the matchup itself is one where I am interested to see this Texans team operate in that environment. Since CJ Stroud's injury, they've had a couple home games, and then they went to Tennessee, not exactly a raucous crowd to deal with. Not a lot of excitement surrounding Tennessee other than maybe Cam Ward making a special throw. So this game, Colts fans are going to show up. It's going to be loud. It's going to be CJ's first game back. I don't know that we'll see much different offensively as far as what we've seen over the course of the year. I think they are who they are. Maybe a different play call that works out, maybe a better throw here or there. But as far as what their ceiling is, I think we've seen it. They're a team against good competition that you shouldn't expect more than a couple touchdowns from. Maybe if you get helped out by your defense, that puts you in an advantageous field position, or at least starting field position. Maybe CJ and that offense is better equipped with him back to turn 3 into 7. But how many points will it take? We went through it this morning where if the Texans had scored 21 points in every game, they would be like 9-2 or something because of how great their defense is. We heard Jon Gruden talk about it. What the Colts like to do as far as getting the ball to their tight end, I am concerned about. Tyler Warren, while he hasn't had a giant year, this feels like a matchup that could be one where he has a big day. Also, can the Texans hold up if the Colts really emphasize something they did not do last week after the Chiefs had some success stopping the run? Will the Colts say, we don't care, we're just going to continue to feed Jonathan Taylor and see? Because if it comes down to their tackles against the Texans front and Daniel Jones, got real problems for the Colts and a great day for the Texans if he has to drop back and throw like 30 times. That's a problem. You hope to force him into that. You got to win early. And the play action game, I think, will be pretty big. And Daniel Jones will get the ball out quick to the flats. So Texans, we know, historically, and even under DeMeco Ryans, have had issues covering backs. In their last, was it their last loss? They got beat for a long touchdown against the Broncos. I think Henry To'oTo'o was a victim there on one of those. So Taylor out of the backfield, Taylor in general. I mean, that is the focus anytime you play the Colts, particularly this year with the year he's having. If the MVP award was something that was given to someone that wasn't a quarterback, he would have a real shot. Now he's in line for Offensive Player of the Year. So when you have that guy on the other side, and you have a pretty good offensive line who didn't have their best day against the Chiefs, I would expect a bounce back from them and a bounce back from Steichen. He did some, I won't say odd things. It falls in line with what football has been, but when you got Patrick Mahomes on the other side, and I know their defense is playing well the Chiefs were, sometimes you got to go for it on 4th and 4 around the 45-yard line just to limit the opportunities if you pick it up to keep Mahomes off the court. I wouldn't be off the field. I wouldn't be surprised if he's more aggressive because some of those situations where they decided to run out there and try to draw him off sides, which of course would never is going to work, is just it's just wasting everyone's time. You're not drawing the Chiefs offside in that situation. They're not the Raiders. If you got the Raiders on the other side, I would say try it because that team is awful. They're undisciplined. They'll make a mistake. The Chiefs in that spot, as desperate as they were, they weren't going to make those type of mistakes. So he wound up punting the football maybe more times than he should have, considering over the course of the year how good their offense had been. But maybe you're a little spooked by Chris Jones and Spagnuolo and what that defense had done throughout the day. So they punted the football back, gave Mahomes enough opportunities, and the Chiefs found a way. So at home, I would expect probably a more aggressive type of game. And so the Texans may not be off the field just because they got the Colts to 4th down. If it's 4th and medium around midfield, you may see the Colts go for it. I remember they did that from the jump. They were going for it early in the season. That started week 1, so that might come back after not doing it a couple times last week. So Colts, Texans in a game that helps decide the division. Now, AJ, let me ask you, because I've seen this a lot on ESPN after they beat the Bills. It was a lot of the Texans are the one team you don't want to see in the playoffs. I felt like it was a memo passed around and everyone's saying it. And while I agree that the defense is something you don't want to have to deal with in the playoffs, they also have an offense that, are you really concerned about that offense?
Right.
We ask how many points do the Texans have to score to win a game? How many points does an offense for the opponent have to score to win a game?
It's true too.
Like the number might be 21 for both. The
Yeah.
first of 21 wins. That is not a lot of points in the NFL. Like I think the Colts, at least going into last week, led the league in scoring at like 32, whatever. I don't know what it is now, but I think while the positives for the Texans defense allows them to be in every game, the offense allows for teams who go against the Texans defense to be in every game because it doesn't take much.
Right.
Look at if we take the opposing viewpoint, they beat the Titans 16-13 on a last drive that set them up for a game winner. So in a world where the Titans had the ball last, all it would have taken was 16 points to beat the Texans on that day. You go back to, well, we know it only took 10, or was it 17-10 to beat the Jags? To beat the Texans
Something like that.
in game the first game. The Rams only needed 14. So I understand. We look at it from the Texans' perspective because, hey, if we could just do this, well, we have evidence that even when the defense is at its best, it doesn't take very much because of how mediocre your offense is, if I'm being kind, for the other team to stay in games and win them. So, sure, put up 21 points. That's all you need. But you've proven enough times that why should I expect you to put up 21 points?
Right.
Unless you're getting a lot of help from your defense as far as turnovers and maybe a score themselves.
Yeah, in that Bills game, I guess so many people were caught off guard in the national media about how Josh Allen played that now
Yeah.
they're talking about the Texans and a lot
Yeah,
of that.
we know this defense is great.
Right.
But we've seen this offense play against the Broncos, and they could not score.
Exactly.
So, of course, you do it in on a national stage against someone who's considered a Superman and the defending MVP. I get it. It all comes together for people to start saying, I wouldn't want to play him. I don't know. Yeah, I don't want to see Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson, but I might want to see Ursary and Titus Howard.
Right.
I
Exactly.
might want to see Trent Brown if I'm an opposing defense. I think it all balances out. We know elite defense, below par offense, and can this elite defense carry them the rest of the way? Because I get it. CJ's back. But I saw CJ. It wasn't good. There've been moments against the 49ers, the context being the 49ers were very beat up in that game, but you put up numbers. And of course, we go back to the fourth quarter again in the first Titans game where they lit them up, that one win football team. And then Baltimore when they were bad. So there have been moments when the Texans have been explosive offensively, just not in a way where I think a switch is going to be flipped starting on Sunday. But if you get to 21, you got a real shot to win. But can you get to 21? On the road, they've they've gotten to 21 one time against the Ravens, right? That Ravens team who was
Injuries.
not playing even average football at the time. We know they're awful. So, can the Texans get to 21 points this Sunday? Nah, they better win 16-13. They better win. They better win that game 16-13. Until I see it against a real team, I'm not giving them 21 points in a row. They got to 19 against the Seahawks. That's the closest they've been against a team who wasn't falling apart like the Ravens were at the time. So, should be competitive, should be close. Let's stop with the bad special teams. What is it? 2 out of the last 3 weeks they've given up a return for a touchdown. Frank Ross got to clean that up, and hopefully you do enough not to put your defense in a position with your other two units that your defense can go play well and not be put in bad spots, and then you got a real shot. Hopefully you get enough out of your offense. All right, we'll go to break with that. Texans Colts, of course. Let's not forget about the Jags. They're very much in the mix. I don't know how the tiebreakers go right now because the Jags haven't played the Colts, but could we look up on Sunday if the Texans win and the Jags likely beat Tennessee and the Jags are in first place all of a sudden? At least they could at least be tied for first place, maybe at least record wise, and maybe tiebreaker wise they'd be in first place. So it's gonna be an interesting last 6-7 weeks of the season with the AFC South really bunched up, and the Texans can bring that bunch even tighter if they can get a win.